Lexington, consolidated with Fayette County, is the second largest city in Kentucky and the 61st largest in the United States. Known as the horse capital of the world, it is the heart of the state's Bluegrass region, with a mayor-alderman form of government. It is one of two cities in Kentucky designated by the state as first class. The other is the state's largest city of Louisville. In the 2014 U.S. Census estimate, the city's population was 310,797, anchoring a metropolitan area of 489,435 people and a combined statistical area of 708,677 people. Lexington ranks 10th among U.S. cities in college education rate, with 39.5% of residents having at least a bachelor's degree. It is the location of the Kentucky Horse Park, the Red Mile and Keeneland racecourses, Rupp Arena, the world's largest basketball-specific arena, Transylvania University, the University of Kentucky and Bluegrass Community and Technical College. History. This area of fertile soil and abundant wildlife was long occupied by varying tribes of Native Americans. European explorers began to trade with them, but settlers did not come in force until the late 18th century. Lexington was founded by European Americans in June 1775, in what was then considered Fincastle County, Virginia, 17 years before Kentucky became a state. A party of frontiersmen, led by William McConnell, camped on the Middle Fork of Elkhorn Creek at the site of the present-day McConnell Springs. Upon hearing of the colonists' victory in the battles of Lexington and Concord on April 19, 1775, they named their campsite Lexington. It was the first of what would be many American places to be named after the Massachusetts town. The risk of Indian attacks delayed permanent settlement for 4 years. In 1779, during the American Revolutionary War, Carl Robert Patterson and 25 companions came from Fort Howard and erected a blockhouse. They built cabins and a stockade, establishing a settlement known as Bryan Station. In 1780, Lexington was made the seat of Virginia's newly organized Fayette County. Colonists defended it against a British and Indian attack in 1782, during the last part of the American Revolutionary War. The town was chartered on May 6, 1782, by an act of the Virginia General Assembly. The first African Baptist church was founded c. 1790 by Peter Durrett, a Baptist preacher and slave held by Joseph Craig. Durrett helped guide the traveling church, a group migration of several hundred pioneers led by the preacher Lewis Craig and Captain William Ellis from Orange County, Virginia to Kentucky in 1781. It is the oldest Black Baptist congregation in Kentucky and the third oldest in the United States. By 1820, Lexington was one of the largest and wealthiest towns west of the Allegheny Mountains. So cultured was its lifestyle that the city gained the nickname Athens of the West. One early prominent citizen, John Wesley Hunt, became the first millionaire west of the Alleghenies. The growing town was devastated by a cholera epidemic in 1833. 500 of 7,000 residents died within 2 months, including nearly one-third of the congregation of Christ Church Episcopal. London Farrell, second preacher of First African Baptist, was one of 3 clergy who stayed in the city to serve the suffering victims. Additional cholera outbreaks occurred in 1848–49 and the early 1850s. Cholera was spread by people using contaminated water supplies, but its transmission was not understood in those years. Often the wealthier people would flee town for outlying areas to try to avoid the spread of disease. Planters held slaves for use as field hands, laborers, artisans, and domestic servants. In the city, slaves worked primarily as domestic servants and artisans, although they also worked with merchants, shippers, and in a wide variety of trades. In 1850, 1/5 of the state's population were slaves, and Lexington had the highest concentration of slaves in the state. It also had a population of free blacks, often of mixed race. By 1850, First African Baptist Church, led by London Farrell, a free black from Virginia, had a congregation of 1820, the largest of any, black or white, in the entire state. Many of 19th century America's most important people spent part of their lives in the city, including U.S. President Abraham Lincoln and Confederate President Jefferson Davis, Confederate General John Hunt Morgan, U.S. Senator and Vice President John C. Breckinridge, and Speaker of the House, U.S. Senator, and Secretary of State Henry Clay, who had a plantation nearby. Lincoln's wife Mary Todd Lincoln was born and raised in Lexington, and the couple visited the city several times after their marriage in 1842. In 1935, the Addiction Research Center was created as a small research unit at the U.S. Public Health Service Hospital in Lexington. Founded as one of the first drug rehabilitation clinics in the nation, the ARC was affiliated with the federal prison. Expanded as the first alcohol and drug rehabilitation hospital in the United States, it was known as NARCO of Lexington. The hospital was later converted to operate as part of the federal prison system. It is known as the Federal Medical Center, Lexington, and serves a variety of health needs for prisoners. In 1806, Lexington was a rising city of the vast territory to the west of the Appalachian Mountains. It was described as to its spirit and quality by poet Josiah Aspy in the following letter. Lexington is the largest and most wealthy town in Kentucky, or indeed west of the Allegheny Mountains. The main street of Lexington has all the appearance of Market Street in Philadelphia on a busy day. I would suppose it contained about 500 dwelling houses. It was closer to 300, many of them elegant and 3 stories high. About 30 brick buildings were then raising, and I have little doubt but that in a few years it will rival, not only in wealth, but in population, the most populous inland town of the United States. The country around Lexington, for many miles in every direction, is equal in beauty and fertility to anything the imagination can paint and is already in a high state of cultivation. Residents fondly continue to refer to Lexington as the Athens of the West, after Aspy's poem dedicated to the city. Geography. Lexington, which includes all Fayette County, consists of 285.5 square miles, mostly gently rolling plateau, in the center of the inner Bluegrass region. The area is noted for its fertile soil, excellent pasture land, and horse and stock farms. Poa pratensis thrives on the limestone beneath the soil's surface, playing a major role in the development of champion horses. It is associated with the area's beauty of landscape. Numerous small creeks rise and flow into the Kentucky River. The Lexington-Fayette metro area includes 5 counties: Clark, Jessamine, Bourbon, Woodford, and Scott. This is the second largest metro area in Kentucky after that of Louisville. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 285.5 square miles. 284.5 square miles of it is land and 1.0 square mile of it is water. Cityscape. Lexington features a diverse cityscape. Forbes has ranked Lexington as one of the world's 17 cleanest cities. Planning. Lexington must manage a rapidly growing population while working to maintain the character of the surrounding horse farms that give the region its identity. In 1958, Lexington enacted the nation's first urban growth boundary, restricting new development to an urban service area. It set a strict minimum area requirement, currently 40 acres, to maintain open space for landholdings in the rural service area. In 1967, the urban service area was decreased in area. Various zoning regulations were also amended from the original 1958 issue. Several years later, in 1973, the first Lexington Comprehensive Plan was completed. In 1980, the Comprehensive Plan was updated. The urban service area was modified to include urban activity centers and rural activity centers. The urban activity centers were commercial and light industrial districts in urbanized areas, while rural activity centers were retail, trade and light industrial centers clustered around the Interstate 64, Interstate 75 interchanges. In 1996, the urban service area was expanded when 5,300 acres of the rural service area was acquired through the Expansion Area Master Plan. This was controversial. This first major update to the comprehensive plan in over a decade was accompanied by arguments among residents about the future of Lexington and the thoroughbred farms. The Expansion Area Master Plan included new concepts of impact fees, assessment districts, neighborhood design concepts, design overlays, mandatory greenways, major roadway improvements, stormwater management, and open space mitigation for the first time. It also included a draft of the Rural Land Management Plan, which included large lot zoning and traffic impact controls. A pre-zoning of the entire expansion area was refuted in the plan. A 50-acre minimum proposal was defeated. Discussion of this proposal appeared to stimulate the development of numerous 10-acre subdivisions in the rural service areas. 3 years after the expansion was initiated, the Rural Service Area Land Management Plan was adopted, which increased the minimum lot size in the agricultural rural zones to 40-acre minimums. In 2000, a Purchase of Development Rights Plan was adopted, granting the city the power to purchase the development rights of existing farms. In 2001, $40 million was allocated to the plan from a $25 million local, $15 million state grant. An infill and redevelopment study was also initiated during that time, along with design guidelines for the areas surrounding the new Fayette County courthouses. Climate: Lexington is in the northern periphery of the humid subtropical climate zone, with hot, humid summers and cool winters with occasional mild periods. It falls in USDA Hardiness Zone 6B. The city and the surrounding Bluegrass region have 4 distinct seasons that include cool plateau breezes, moderate nights in the summer, and no prolonged periods of heat, cold, rain, wind, or snow. The monthly daily average temperature ranges from 32.9 degrees Fahrenheit in January to 76.2 degrees Fahrenheit in July, while the annual mean temperature is 55.5 degrees Fahrenheit. On average, there are 23 days of 90 degrees Fahrenheit plus highs annually and 19 days per winter where the high fails to rise above freezing. Annual precipitation is 45.1 inches, with the late spring and summer months being slightly wetter. Snowfall averages 13.0 inches per season. Extreme temperatures range from -21 degrees Fahrenheit on January 24, 1963, up to 108 degrees Fahrenheit on July 10 and 15, 1936. Lexington is recognized as a high allergy area by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. The results for the spring of 2008 ranked Lexington as first among high allergy cities. Demographics. The Lexington-Fayette Metropolitan Statistical Area includes Bourbon, Clark, Fayette, Jessamine, Scott, and Woodford counties. The MSA population in 2013 was estimated at 489,435. The Lexington-Fayette-Frankfort-Richmond (KY) combined statistical area had an estimated population of 703,271 in 2012. This includes the metro area and an additional 7 counties. As of the census of 2000, there were 260,512 people, 108,288 households, and 62,915 families residing in the city. The population density was 915.6 people per square mile. There were 116,167 housing units at an average density of 408.3 per square miles. The racial makeup of the city was 81.04% white, 13.48% African American, 0.19% Native American, 2.46% Asian, 0.03% Pacific Islander, 1.21% from other races, and 1.58% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 3.29% of the population. There were 108,288 households, out of which 27.3% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 43.5% were married couples living together, 11.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 41.9% were non-families. 31.7% of all households were made up of individuals, and 7.5% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.29 and the average family size was 2.90. In the city, the population was spread out, with 21.3% under the age of 18, 14.6% from 18 to 24, 33.2% from 25 to 44, 20.9% from 45 to 64, and 10.0% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 33 years. For every 100 females there were 96.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 94.3 males. The median income for a household in the city was $39,813, and the median income for a family was $53,264. Males had a median income of $36,166 versus $26,964 for females. The per capita income for the city was $23,109. About 8.2% of families and 12.9% of the population were below the poverty line, including 14.3% of those under the age of 18 and 8.6% of those ages 65 and older. The table below illustrates the population growth of Fayette County since the first U.S. Census in 1790. Lexington city limits became coterminous with Fayette County in 1974. Sources: 1790 to 1960 census, 1970 census, 1980 census, 1990 census, 2000 to 2005 census, 2006 census. Economy: Lexington has one of the nation's most stable economies. Lexington describes itself as having a fortified economy, strong in manufacturing, technology and entrepreneurial support, benefiting from a diverse, balanced business base. The Lexington metro area had an unemployment rate of 3.7% in August 2015, lower than many cities of similar size. In 2011, Lexington was ranked as the fourth best city for businesses and careers by Forbes magazine, the fifth best city for young professionals in 2008, and sixth best value cities in 2011 by Kiplinger. The city is home to several large corporations. Sizable employment is generated by 4 Fortune 500 companies: Xerox, Lexmark International, Lockheed Martin, and IBM, employing 3,000, 2,800, 1,705, and 552, respectively. United Parcel Service, Train, and Amazon.com, Inc. have large operations in the city, and Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky is within the Lexington CSA, located in adjoining Georgetown. A Jif peanut butter plant located here produces more peanut butter than any other factory in the world. Notable corporate headquarters include A&W Restaurants, a restaurant chain known for root beer and root beer floats; Faisaley's, a fast food Italian-style chain that has expanded to more than 20 states, Tempur Sealy International, a manufacturer of mattresses, and the Forged Group of Kentucky, a holding company that employs more than 2,100 people across Kentucky. Forged Group operates several businesses in Lexington, including First Corbin Bancorp, Kentucky National Insurance Company, My Favorite Things, BSC, a bank data services company, and First Lab, among others. The city's largest employer, the University of Kentucky, as of 2012, employs about 14,000. That number is expected to shrink due to reduced funding from the state. The university ranks as the 9th largest economic company in the state of Kentucky, with an annual budget of $1.4 billion. And the College of Medicine within the university is the 21st largest company in the state. Other sizable employers include the Lexington Fayette County government and other hospital facilities. The Fayette County Public Schools employ 5,374, and the Lexington-Fayette-Turban County government employs 2,699. Central Baptist Hospital, St. Joseph Hospital, St. Joseph East, and the Veterans Administration Hospital employ 7,000 persons in total.